Man, the anytime I hit record, I'm recording both on the well, MKV and MP4, but they go to different hard drives. And the mechanical hard drive has to upspin before we can actually even start recording. So it's like, come on, I already hit stream. Do it. All right. So, I know it's Monday, and technically I'm supposed to be working on Artag Rise, but I wanted to, I already have the record folder selected to Child of Ether, so we might as well do that. I wanted to handle a little bit of the merchant buying stuff. Okay, so where is the merchant? There is the merchant. I'm gonna take the player. So the way I'm thinking of handling merchant buying stuff is that they all value something, and if you want to trade, you gotta trade them for something that they value, something that they need. Okay, so how do we set that up? How we set up what they actually value? Okay, here we go. So it looks like it's even further in the generic character. Um, what do we have here? Merchant starter items. Okay, so this is the stuff that they sell. Now let's do merchant wanted items. So this is to avoid the players from basically like selling anything and everything to just about any trader, so to speak. I will have traders that take everything. They're called junkmen, so to speak, and they will buy whatever. They will buy anything, but you have to get to them. They're kind of hard to get to. Okay, so how do we establish what they want, what they seek? I suppose it's just a list of items. Um, hmm. We also want to make sure they don't sell the same thing that they seek. Hmm. Okay. Let's take a look at the master node. Okay. So maybe we can make it so that they seek manufactured things. Hmm. Axe, shovel, fishing rod. Clean water they would take. For sure. Berries. I would assume anything consumable. Well, just about anything. Maybe the whole bits. So we get cabbage stem, cabbage leaves. So just the cabbage itself. The whole thing. So it's just onion. Yup. Tomato. Mm-hmm. I suppose this is enough for the time being. Okay, so let's run the game. I want to take a look at the interface right now. Okay. I really need to slow down the camera rotation in the player. It's not supposed to be that fast. Eh. Okay. Okay. So this is what we see. This is what the character sells. Maybe what we can do here is limit the number of rows. So this is what he sells, this is what he wants. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 15 and 9. Okay. So we need to separate this into what he wants and what he sells. Cool. And then some way to actually sell our stuff. Which, hey, you know what? We now have an inventory that is made in a way that doesn't just overlap everything. We can lift this entire interface up just a touch. And, yeah, I think that would work out just fine. Okay, now. I wonder, would it be possible to maybe set up in rows to keep this kind of arrangement? So we can either split this right here. This segment, these 9 slots, would be for what the character seeks. These 15 slots is what they sell. Which, I mean, 15 slots seems to be more than enough. We can always add an additional row if we need to. Hmm. Okay. Now, to make this presentable, I feel like we can organize this into a couple of 9-patch rects, which means we need to actually create the 9-patch rects. And finally, we'll take a look at how to properly do that. So, my mistake was to make the 9-patch rect uneven. It was really wide or really tall. That caused all the components to shrink. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna make it even. Okay, so 9 patch rect means there's 9 segments. So 3, 3, 3. 3 rows, 3 columns. So if we take one segment, 64 pixels, times 3, that's 192. So we make 192, 192. Okay, next we will divide this. If we do 64, you can see we have 9 patches. I do want to know where the edges are. So I think we're gonna do 32 so that it splits the 64 pieces in halves. So I know where the halves are. Make a new layer. Okay. And this is the idea. Mm-hmm. Okay. We do have a bit of bleed over here down below. So I'm gonna select this, move tool, pop, 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 and then select the bottom, move tool, pop, 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 pop. There we go. So the 4 corners are perfectly confined within their regions. Okay, with no background, I'm just gonna export this and we'll see how that plays out. So, child of ether, engine, sprites, UI. Okay, merchant, categories. That's a it's got to be a PNG file though, not a JPEG. Engine, sprites, UI. Merch categories. What are merch categories? This would be merch. Yeah, it's merch categories. I'm gonna save this right away. All right. This goes to assets, sprites, UI. Okay. Cool. So now, merchant panel. We're gonna do this. Item grid. So this has to have 5, but Zoltan, good day. Been a while. How's it going? Let's do HBox container. Sorry for not being active. Dude, that's totally fine. We got, world's in a shitty condition, and we gotta grind it. Grind it out, man. This is gonna be called one at item grid. This is selling item grid. Okay. So, right. So we need to reparent to a new node. It's going to be a panel, or technically it has to be a panel container. So reparent, one more time. Panel container. Yep. Oh, yes. And then same thing here. Take this panel container. Give it a style box texture. And you know what? I'm going to place here a merchant slot. As a matter of fact, we're going to place as many as we're supposed to have. And we'll just program the code to remove them. Copy this. Paste that in here. Beautiful. All right, so back to here. Merge categories. Want to release the experience of releasing a game. Started a mini game project for Android. So far, it's been about 40 hours total. Need to release society. Damn, that's awesome. That's some monstrous productivity. Nice. I should maybe take a break and redo one of my projects as well. Like the Witch of Endor game that was made originally Game Maker. I'm kind of looking at it, it's like, man, this needs to get fixed up. But I don't want to open Game Maker again, so I'll likely do the same thing I did with Song of a Spirit, where it was originally made in Game Maker, but I just remade it in Godot. Okay. Top, bottom, left, and right. There we go. So we got some nice... There we go. Some nice arrangement. We got right, left. Okay. So what do we got here? This looks nice. It's amazing how energized you feel by somebody enjoying it. Yeah, dude, that's an otherworldly feeling. It's what we live for. HBox container. Let's place this in here because we're going to need a rich text label. And this rich text label will be up here. I sell. Managed to get content back from that game. Yes, so because it was a browser game, all the assets have to be loaded as just regular image resources. Now, it's not given in a very convenient way because, you know, engines place everything on texture pages, but I can just download the texture pages and cut out the assets from there and work with that. So yeah, it's definitely doable. I think, to be honest, the most important stuff that I was afraid of losing was the intro cinematic, which ironically ran like shit because Game Maker's sequences can't keep up with the frame rates. Like, it doesn't understand that you need to, like, the developers of the engine, Yo-Yo Games, don't understand that sometimes we want to display a video or a sequence of images that is synchronized to sound and music. They don't understand that. They expect us to, you know, fill up their shitty programming and program some routines to make up for lost skipped frames, which of course ends up looking like ass. And yeah, that sucks. So I'm hoping that the Godot Engine sequences, or the Godot Engine's animation player is not going to betray me like that. But that's kind of like, I spent 3 days on that intro cinematic. That's a little comic style thing. Yeah, it was like 3 days out of a 7-day game jam. So it's like, great. Fantastic. Not the wisest, decision to spend time on that, but the fact that I, in the end, couldn't even display it because it lagged, it didn't run in sync with audio, just kind of sucked. So yeah, a lot of the assets, I think character animations, I'd rather reclaim, um, because it's kind of like it's an already established style, so it's a part of that game now, and I like it. So I wanted to reclaim the character animations. Maybe tiles if I'll be able to do that. I think this should be in an uncompressed format. So yeah, stuff like that. Might be kind of fun to be honest. Plus would be a bit of a break, and that game will actually be playable because even right now on the website, the main menu buttons don't line up with where your mouse is because Game Maker Studio, program your own user interface. Good luck. And then make sure it's scalable too. Fun times. So I messed up on like the positioning of the mouse coordinate calculation. I suppose I didn't account for scale of the application, and now you have to click in like an empty space on the screen in order to click on that button. This is why I generally and genuinely appreciate Godot's user interface nodes. They just do all that nonsense for you. Just design what you want to design. What baffles me right now is that only now Yo-Yo Games are announcing features like user interface objects. They only now announced prefabricated objects, which is Godot Engine's scene system and Unity's scene system. It took them 10 goddamn years to realize that maybe we want to create complex objects made out of multiple behaving elements, right? Instead of having to program the entire goddamn thing within one single object with one single script. 10 years. I am so glad I bounced the ship. I jumped off that hell wagon. God damn, man. So much time that has cost me. I pity those who want to stick to Game Maker Studio because I don't know, maybe they haven't tried other engines, but this kind of been my experience. It's like if I never tried Godot Engine, I probably would have been still stuck with Game Maker Studio, and I probably would have still been, wasting my precious hours doing some stupid basic bitch stuff like aligning interface so it's responsive. Oh, it's not like we haven't had like a decade to figure that shit out. Ahoy there, mateys! The scene system in Godot, yeah, dude, it's the scene system in Godot is absolutely phenomenal. Whew. I'm so glad to get Godot a try. Yeah, man, that's like I still discover new features that makes me go say that every time. Like, damn, it does that? Really? Damn. Um who's that developer? Something's a Passive Star. Passive Star posted a screenshot on Twitter saying that Godot makes 17 Git mergers on average a day. 17 improvements. Okay, what am I looking for? Normal font size. Okay, so we'll do this. And then VBox container. This goes here. That goes here. I want. I'm going to take this panel. Copy. Pop in here. Paste. Nice. There we go. The feeling came for me recently when I was getting ready to set up accelerometer input for Android. Found the docs literally one line of code that does it for you. It was just unbelievable. Get accelerometer. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it is kind of the same in Godot or in GameMaker. But it's like there's just a plethora of stuff that isn't like that, that should be like that. I'm pretty sure App Game Kit has the same thing, which is another engine. Okay, what's with the what is the space, Batman? What's happening here? Let's get this. Oh, okay, interesting. Let's get this VBox container to not fill. Shrink begin. Shrink begin. Same thing here. Okay, now what's happening here? What's with all this extra space? Interesting. Do we have something in the theme? We might have something in the theme. I might have to make it unique. Let's see. Ooh, hey, come on. Huh. Okay. This is a little weird. I guess it fills the available space. It's got to be this guy. Oh, custom minimum size has been set. Don't want that. There you go. Cool. I think we can reduce the separation here. Nice. Okay, that works. I got a new arrangement for the interface here, for the player's user interface. It looks mighty nice. Let's see. Just gonna try to reduce the amount of used space here. Beautiful. Okay, I'm just gonna lift this up. All right. Oh, okay. So we have magical deleting text. That's what we have. Did some Android dev way back. Was it with Android Studio? Still got to fix up some of that stuff. All right. So this is likely it creating components. Dev.child and based null instance. Grid. Right. So grid is no longer existing where it used to be. Merchant panel. Okay, we have panel container. So this is the selling panel. And then buying panel. this should work. No? Yeah, I guess I gotta restart it. Android Studio, it's garbage. God. I tried Android Studio. It's an interesting experience. Although, why do we need new merchant panel? Get node. Oh yeah. Right. Run that. The only thing works is Xcode. Oh God. Don't even get me started on Xcode. Okay. We still got jumping whoa. Easy. Okay, right. Okay. Thanks, Godot. Appreciate it. Okay, we're gonna make it so that the inventory closes closes out the slots, the existing slots, before creating new ones. Or we could just have it have that many slots, you know, and have it not create them, but simply loop through the ones that are there and just populate them with items. Do we really need to instance them? Seems like that's not really that much important. I believe this would be generic NPC, not generic character. Yeah, okay. So, populate items in the UI. What does it do? Well, it instantiates it, and then it gives my merchant variable, which is kind of important because the slots have to know what is their merchant. Okay, so maybe we don't do this. Okay. Merchant slots. We're not even looping through anything. Where's the merchant slots? Merchant panel, grid. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Comment this out. So we have access to the grid for each slot in grid. Grid get children. Okay, so we will tell each slot that the inventory node is this one. I think that should pretty much be it. Took me 4.5 hours to set up an Android Studio with Godot. It's kind of a strange process, but once you figure it out, it's not as bad. But making a game entirely in Android Studio, whew. Oh boy. Yeah, I gotta say, that's the one thing that drives me nuts about mobile development. The version has to be exactly this and exactly that. No, you can't do the ... 4. You have to do the ... 2 version. And then, oh boy, once, Android has grown old for a little while, if you have a lot of Android applications, well, be ready to port all of your games over to the new Android version, because those libraries you've been using are outdated all of a sudden. Something you'll never have with Windows. Even nowadays, I can still, like if we go far back enough, sure, DOSBox, you have to use emulator to play really old games. But I can still run Fallout 3, right? I can still run New Vegas. I can still run a lot of old games. And with Android, oh no, the version has increased by 0.0005. Your applications are no longer supported. You better update those, boy, or we're gonna take them off the store. That's kind of why I'm like, Man, when you have like 15 applications and all of them need to be updated, it's like, shit. And you're lucky if like the engine you're using has done the update quickly enough too. I don't think we have to worry about that with Godot, but like with GameMaker, yeah. Some of those old Android projects are not portable anymore. I have to port them to a new version of the engine. Build tools was 0.1 version I had. Oh, man, that sucks. Why are we complaining? Evaluate set my inventory node. Merchant item slot with value of type character body 3D. Well, yes. Merchant item slot. We have merchant item slot. It has my merchant variable. Oh. Well, hold on a second. My inventory node is supposed to be my merchant set to self. Let's try that again. And then you look at iPhone development and be like, oh, what's that? You want to develop for your $700 iPhone? Well, buddy, you better have a $4,000 MacBook to boot. Otherwise, you don't have that license. Okay, so this did something. I swear to God, eventually, Apple will be like, you know what? Old Apple devices or old Apple computers, now they don't have the valid license. You have to have the new version of the license. Make sure you buy that latest MacBook. Can't get a used one. Invalid get index inventory on base nil. My merchant. Right, so here. So here it attempted to talk to my merchant, but my merchant is null. So either we have to make sure that it doesn't do this if it's null, or we can go over here. And you see, we instantiate the panel. We add it as a child, which means as soon as that's done, it just starts running. So what if we do this? What if we only add it as a child after we're done with this whole thing? That way, all the nodes inside don't run their process function until we populate my merchants into them. Let's give that a go. I might want to make the camera position itself in between the two characters too, eh? When we're talking. Okay, we have crashed. Now what are we crashing about? Invalidate index inventory and base nil. What are you talking about? Oh, right. Okay, so we actually have two inventories now. We have the buying and the selling inventory. Okay, now this is a curious one. How do we want to handle the selling inventory? So we programmed the merchant, the slot to have a merchant variable, and then in the merchant variable you'll be accessing the inventory. So what we could do, you see, every time we talk to the merchant, we're just talking to them to get to the inventory. So what we could do is we could say, all right, no need for my merchant. We're going to do var my inventory reference. We make it a dictionary. Okay. Instead of my merchant.inventory, we're going to talk to my inventory reference. And we're going to take advantage of the whole, when you have a variable, you make it equals to another variable containing a dictionary, those two variables share a reference to that dictionary, not have two unique dictionaries. So that means in here, we're not actually going to be setting my merchant. We're going to be setting my inventory reference. And here, it will be the inventory of the merchant. And then here, we need to first of all loop through a different grid, which is this one. The wanted item grid. Curious that I can drag and drop here. And I couldn't do that before. Okay, so we're gonna do wanted grid. We get the children, and then my inventory ref. We're gonna make wanted inventory. Okay. Each slot my inventory ref equals wanted inventory. Now, wanted inventory isn't a thing. We need to go into the generic character, and we have inventory, and we have var wanted inventory. Okay. So, merge wanted items. We need to populate this. Oh yes, we only have 15 selling slots now. That's important. And then merchant wanted slots. 9. Okay, so we need to populate this with like 3 or 4 items out of this slot. Okay. So where should we do this? This is the ready. Let's give ourselves a separate function for this. Let's do func prepare merchant inventories. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna call prepare merchant inventories from here. And then here, populate wanted inventories. Wanted items. Okay. So first of all, we only want to do this if it hasn't been done before. Wanted inventory. If it's empty, then, well, realistically, the concept is pretty much the same, except we don't actually care about item amounts. So we need to take this, we need to shuffle it. Merchant wanted items. Then, we know that we have 9 slots in total. We are going to choose random slots. Or do we want random slots? For the wanted ones? Maybe. Okay. Let's put a comment here. So, select how many items the NPC wants. Okay, so if we have 9 slots, we might as well make it a chance that they could want 9 items. So let's do 4, or let's do variable wanted item count rand I range. So anywhere between minimum of 3 items and 9 items. Maybe 2 items. 2 to 9. There we go. And I believe 2 is inclusive in this case. So, this is how many items we want. Next, we need to do 4x in wanted item count. We've shuffled this list, so that means that these items are now random. We're going to talk to the wanted inventory. Let's place the slots in order for the time being. So we're going to do X, and we're going to make it equals 2. Let's see. We're going to take the item, and we're going to use X to access the item's key. But this isn't the item itself. We need to do master node, item database, and then there we access the item by this key. And, yeah. I think that's basically it. Cool. I think that should do it. Let's see. So we should see a bunch of buy things. Okay, crashed. It did what it had to do. Invalid set index text on base grid container. Oh boy. Okay, what is the issue here? Oh right, get parent. The item description is no longer accurate. So where do we have to go to get to the item info? So we do get parent, get parent, get parent, get parent, and then get the child. Jeez. Okay. Isn't it easier to just get, like, put this in a node group at this point? Merchant, item, info box group. We'll just do this. Get tree. Get nodes. Get first node in the group. There should only be one. And that should give us the item. And we should really never be able to see more than one of these inventory panels anyways. Okay. Still crashes. It showed me that it's an axe. Info box. It did not like info box because it is still talking to the old one. I guess I moved that up here for the sole purpose of not having to get it every time. But I forgot to remove it. Remove that piece. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Dialogue. The camera definitely needs to move between the two characters. Hey. Okay. This is interesting. So we take this and place it in there. Okay, so how do we actually sell this stuff? We could make it via the click. To be honest, would that be the easiest thing? Like, yeah, you can drag and drop it. Or maybe have a slot, a dedicated slot for selling the item. Which is, it's really just me reusing the system that was already there. The bottom alignment is a little light. I'll take the camper if we throw in some marshmallows. I figured they value manufactured things, right? So I also want to make sure that they don't ask for the same items that they sell. I think that would be a good idea to match. Okay. How do we actually interact with this? Well, pick an item and drop it into the slot. Or click on one of these items and then it will sell and then give us the item. We could make it be displayed in a darker shade if it doesn't exist. Yeah, maybe. Think that could work. So, in that case, when we click, actually, let's first make it update the shading if the item is missing. Okay. So, merchant item slot. This is a panel for buying stuff off the player. Okay, so how do we know that? Well, the name is going to be wanted item grid. The name of this node running this code. Actually, that's the parent. The name of the parent, wanted item grid. Then, well, then we need to have a reference to the player, which I suppose we can just do it here. On ready, var player ref, and then there's only going to be one player. I do wonder if I'd be able to do something with like co-op in this one, but keep it kind of simple. Start with just having the player exist in just their own worlds with their own enemies. The trading would be done by dropping things on the ground, of course. And everybody gets their own loot. That's one thing I did not like about the first Borderlands. Every time you play with your friends, somebody comes across a crate, and then they open it, and then the other player just gets a message, so-and-so found a crate, so-and-so picked up a gun, 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 and just looking there, sitting, trying to, like, you know, not to die to the same enemy 5 times in a row, and all you just see is your buddy looting stuff and getting free shit on the other side of the map. It's like, oh, how nice of you. Beautiful. So that's why, like, I think with Borderlands 2, I appreciate when the loot is kind of unique for. Now, when you kill an enemy, it drops the gun. Only one player gets that gun. The mission rewards, however, I think those are unique for each player. Yeah, okay. Anyways, what do we got? We need the player. We need to get access to the player. So players in a group called player group. Return back to the merchant item slot. Get tree. Get first node in group. Player group. Player reference. Okay. So here, player f dot inventory. So if player f dot inventory. Oh god. We need to know if the player has this particular item. But that's a problem because the player stores items into slots, so it'd have to have a loop that loops through the inventory. Okay. I suppose we can just do master node. I know that we have a function for this in the master node, but it does work in the same way. It just loops through the inventory. But maybe if there's only 9 of them, it shouldn't be so bad. So let's do check item, item key, item amount. Okay, so we'll just reuse this function from the master node. What's the item key? Well, we have our inventory reference, And we have the slot number. We do need to double check that there is an item here. So if my inventory reference have an item under the slot number, then ask the master node to check if the player has if the player has this item. We only need one of them because we sell one at a time. I think that should be good. And then if that is the case, then we need to, well, display ourselves modulate equals color white. Okay, other than that, if it's a wanted thing, we're going to set it to gray. Dim gray. Okay, so that should modulate everything. Cool. Okay, it crashed. Invalidate index ID. Right. Because I messed up. This gives us the whole inventory item, its name, its icon, its everything. We're just interested in the ID of this item. Okay, still crashing. I don't know why I have to click like 5 times for this to work. Okay. Invalidate index ID on base dictionary. Okay. This is check item. We did transfer the player to a whole new inventory system where everything is just in one inventory dictionary rather than being split into backpack and storage or backpack and hotbar. Okay, so what do we do here? Go player inventory, get the index. That gives us the item slot number. Then, player inventory. Storage? Storage? What? What? Hold on a second. Do we still have storage somewhere? Oh, we do. We do. We have it in the old save files. App data. Right. After switching to the new system, I totally forgot that my game loads the inventory that was saved before. And that's not good. Okay, so save data, save thumbs. We don't need that. Pretty sure that's nothing else. Tame page terrain. Cool. Hey, okay. So it's showing. Okay, nice. So it shows that we actually have the ability to sell the cabbage. There's no tomatoes. If I do... What else does it want? Campfire. Yes. Of course. Nice. Okay. Yeah, cool. So this works. Of course, if I take it out, it doesn't exist anymore. Nice. I'll take that. Now we need to make it so that when we press the button, it actually, well, takes the item. So, How do we go about doing that? We have our item press, I think. Right here, on button down. So we're gonna check what kind of element this is. So first of all, if it has an item, that is good. Then we're gonna check what kind of a thing is this? What kind of an interface panel? So if it is a selling item grid, then it does the selling process. I know I don't have to do it because there's only two nodes there, but I still want to keep it for legibility's sake. So if the name of the parent is wanted item grid, then first we need to ask, does the player have this many items? So we're not looking for light gem. We're looking for the item that was just clicked on. So that's the item ID out of the inventory slot of this inventory slot. And then we're only interested in one. Okay. So if the player does have that item, then we're going to take one of that item. Okay, and we're going to give one light gem. Okay, I think that should do it. That's all it takes. Okay, so let's give ourselves berries. And we crashed. Get child count. Find free slot. Right. This is the case of the player not having... Okay, this is the case of the player not having the slots in the same place anymore. When we find a free slot, we're supposed to be looking for the free slots within the player. So, what's all this? Oi, what's all this then? Player. Get node. We're gonna get the container for the slots. Inventory container. Inventory container. Hotbar. Yeah, there we go. Inventory grid. So I suppose we'll do this. And yeah, that should do it. And it always skips slot number 1 because that's an empty hand slot. Okay. Oh, it doesn't want campfires anymore. It wants axes. A, okay. But it only gave us this number. Okay. What do we do? The standard seller sells the item at half the price or buys the item at half the price it sells it for. And if we're doing any RPG stuff here, then barter skill improves the prices. Okay, so that should be 73. Or technically, it shouldn't be displaying it at 73. It should be selling them at 73. So when we display the price right here, then we display it. Price, get the value, divided by 2, and then floor it. Or I guess ceiling it. Because if the price was 1, and then the price would be 0. Okay, cool. So in that case, we need to apply the same logic here. First of all, when we sell it, check if the player has 1. We take 1, but we give inventory reference, slot number, value, ceiling divided by 2. Okay. Okay. And we have yet to do balancing, of course. 5, 10. There we go. Well, it's working. Oh, we get 65. 56. 66. Okay, that's a little weird. How many light gems are we allowed to store? $64. Okay, that's a little strange. Merchant slot. So we go master node, give item. Find the player already has this item in the stack. Okay. So if the ID matches and stack is less than the max stack. Well, if the stack is 64, max stack would also be 64. But I guess it added when it was less. Okay, so we take the stack, add the items to give. We set items to give to 0. And then if the stack is now bigger than the max stack, we take the stack, remove from it the max stack. Okay, that doesn't make sense. No, we take whatever's in the stack, remove what's in the max stack. That goes into here, but we never made the stack now be the max stack. See, that's the problem. There you go. So we eventually would have had like item duping. Okay, cool. Let's give that a quick test. Right. My brother's trying to buy an HDMI capture box, but he's looking at like the film grade stuff that can do like 4 simultaneous HDMI captures. I'm like, that's cool and all. You're gonna play like 4 consoles at the same time. All right, what do we got here? Let's get berries. Okay. So 64. 1 was moved over. 6, 11, 61. So right now, we're going to give 5. So 1 should move over, or 2. Okay. Is my math wrong? I think my math is wrong. 1 sec. Okay. Now we should be... Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. We were just stacking to an existing slot. Okay. 63. So if we're about to receive 5, 1 goes in here, 4 goes into the next slot. Yes. Okay, right now it's the whole thing. Nice. Okay. Hey, that works. Cool. How do you like this new inventory thing? Instead of having a separate floating box, it's a little expanding hotbar. I like it. Personally, I like it. It's a bit more space aware too. Took me a while to figure out how to do the 9-patch rect stuff. Apparently you can't do non-even designs with 9-patch rect. It does not like it, unfortunately. But, yeah, we got it figured out. It really made a difference. Yeah, it even looks a bit more professional, to be honest. Okay, so we have merchant buying and selling. Let me fix up this bottom margin. Let's see. What was the value set here? Bottom 33. Bottom 33. Huh. This is really weird. Sometimes editing the scene, or editing the theme, I should say, works in the game while the game is running. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right. Okay, and then here we also need to do something. Reduce line separation, but there we go. All right. This works. What should we do next? Let's do the camera thing. The camera needs to position itself between us and the character we're talking to. Okay, so we have in dialog, it's a master node variable. Tilt. Okay. Camera pan, camera tilt, based on whether or not we're in a dialogue. Cam clip distance. Move the camera is in dialogue. Okay, but where are we moving it? We're not moving it anywhere. Oh, here. Here's the position. Oh, that's based on where the raycast is telling it to be. Okay, so let's try this. We know that the camera sits inside of this little camera mount. So what I think we can do is position camera mount in between talking characters when in dialogue, between player and talking character when in dialogue. Okay. So, camera mount dot position. Well, we want to make it switch between two positions. So we're going to do cam mount final position is going to be equals to either vector 3 0 0 0, which is local position, if not master node in dialogue, else we need to find the position between the two characters, and this has to be in local space. Okay. So it would have to be an offset between global position of the... No. Not offset. Offset would have to be done if we use global position of the player and talking character. Okay, do we know the Muffin Man? Do we know the character that we're talking to? We can do... What can we do? Let's see if the master node might have something. So in dialogue. Okay, so let's do var character in... Let's do dialogue character. Set it to null. And then when we talk to the generic NPC, which is when we interact with them, so that has to be in generic character. Okay. There's the interact. Player node reference in dialogue gets recorded. So there's a look at direction. Oh, that's for making the character rotate to the player. Okay, so we're gonna do master node dot character dialogue self. Okay, so we exit. And then I suppose when exit dialog is executed, master node is dialog false, and then set it back to null. So now the player will have access to the character. So we say camera final position. Let's make a... We can't get a position between null. So average position is going to be set to a vector 3 of 0 0 0. And then if master node dot dialog, what is it? Dialog character. If it's not null, then we calculate the average position here. Okay, so we do average position equals global position of the player plus, and because in Godot 4 we have global position now, global position of the character, we're going to average it out, so add it together, divided by 2, and now we need to subtract global position of the player so that it's in local space. And that is what we're going to make the camera go to. So now, okay, cam mount is a node, position plus equals. So you have to go to this final position. Okay, I'm literally having a keyboard aneurysm right now. Copy paste this, minus position divided by 5. All right. Cool. Fits with the game better. Yes. Hey, beautiful. We are in the middle of nowhere. Okay. Cam mount position. Yep, it's 000, all right. Okay. What did we forget? It's going to be either 000 if we're not in dialogue, else we're going to be here. What is here? Here is global position, which is a vector 2, plus the dialogue, the character we're in dialogue's global position, divided by 2. Maybe it's got to be a float. And then we subtract global position from it. So it goes back to local space. If that doesn't work, I'm just going to use a direction 2 and then half the distance, and that's going to be the offset. Yep. In the middle of nowhere. All right. Maybe it's got to be the character's global position that we subtract. Yeah. Well, hold on a sec. We're not in dialogue. We are definitely not in dialogue. So how is it that it's doing this? Yeah, like if I comment this out, it's still going to be in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, what the heck? Okay. Cam mount dot position. Cam mount isn't a top level element, is it? 48 mentions. Oh, it is a top level element. What the heck? So I suppose that means we can use it in global space. Interesting. Okay. I'll work with that. Okay. So here's the camera process. And then here we override that position. Got it. Okay. So interesting. Since this is where we set the position, we just make it kind of move towards the player. We can actually pretty much take all of this nonsense and put it up here. Okay. So since we're doing global position of the camera, we're just gonna tell it camera final position is going to be either global position of the player if we're not in dialogue, or it's going to be the average position, which can be global, and we don't need to average, or we don't need to subtract the global position, and that I think should do it. Okay. And we specifically made the camera mount be top level so that all the little jitteriness in the player's movement would be kind of averaged out. Okay, so that didn't work. Dialogue character, not null. Average position. Oh, yeah, we should probably use this. Okay. Leave conversation. That's really fast. Because we divided by 3. Um, hmm. Let's make the let's do cam smoothness 3.0. We're going to use this camera smoothness here, but when we get into the dialogue, it's going to be like 25. I'm not sure why the pop-up disappears. Okay. It doesn't really look like it's in between. Maybe it is, and he's just kind of lower. Yeah, I'm pressing a button, and it doesn't interact correctly. It says the interactable object is Marcus. Okay, let's take a look at this guy. Generic character, I suppose. We have the interact, and then player node reference. Master node becomes true. Dialog character becomes self. And this is the only place where we set these values. Exit dialog. Hold on. I think we might have an issue where once we exit the dialog with Marcus, we cannot enter it again because we haven't actually gotten this far. Also, when we're in the dialog, can we like shift the camera up just a little bit? Average position plus vector 2, vector 3, 0, I think it's like -1, 0. And this has to be treated as one value. Ooh, okay. Maybe not. Also, 1 might be a bit too much. Hey, there we go. And then by keeping it in the center, which doesn't really look like it's the center. We keep both characters in the view. Let's try 0.5. And I'm going to put a little debug CSG shape in here so I can see where the heck this thing is. Also, his label disappears when we get close. Okay, so That does not look centered. So that's curious. Cam mount. Move the cam mount, the whole camera moves. Oh, I know why. It's because we have that tilt thing. So when we're in the dialogue, it also tilts the camera, which shifts where the center point is. Okay. Maybe we don't tilt it. We could do rotation degrees Z to give it a bit of a Dutch angle. There we go. So now we're in between these two characters. That's what I was trying to get to. Okay. And also, before we do that, I want to see if it's now possible to have the NPC mark the dialogue box to be invisible, so that just for a split moment it has enough time to be set into position instead of glitching out. Okay, let's see here. So we do anywhere we do instantiate dialogue choice, text box. Okay, so we instantiate it, and then we'll talk to it. Modulate A 0.0. We set it to 0.0 before it's even popped into the scene. Hey, that works. No, well, that's a different one. Okay. So what else do we instantiate? Choice preload. New dialog box, modulate A 0.0. I think the choice box should also fade into view. This, as far as I remember, did not work in Godot 3. Okay, well, it still kind of bugs out. This one works. This works. You know, I feel like we can also impose a bit of a number into how many they need, so that you can't just forever sell your crap here. Like if you farm potatoes and you just come across an NPC who wants potatoes, you could just like make record profit margins on just selling them your potatoes. So I think that might be a smart thing to do. Interesting. So what is this? This is choice. But I suppose it's not really a choice box, it's a dialog box. So let's try this. Hey, okay, nice. No more glitchiness. We do still need to fix the buttons though. But yeah, this looks good. Okay, and then once we do that, so we can't really talk to him anymore. But before we address that, let's do this thing with the setup, with the merchant inventory. So we need to store how many this character actually wants. So we need to, again, set up like a minimum and a maximum between 1 and 6. obviously more value puts on the food. Okay. What is the issue? Closing bracket. Okay. So now, when we go down to setup, we shuffle them, and we're going to get value 0. And then once we get the value 0, we're going to talk to the stack and then set it to rand I range between the minimum value and the maximum value. Okay, so that's done on the amount. Next, we're going to go to generic, what is it, the merchant item slot. When we sell, or when we buy technically, reduce needed item by 1. Hi, good day, good day, good day. Reduce needed item by 1. So we're going to go to my inventory reference, stack minus equals 1, and then if we run out, below or equals to 0, then we're going to remove this item, or I think it's erase, isn't it? Erase. Okay. Cool. So now we don't have an infinite farming system for raising a bunch of stuff and then selling it to this one NPC. Okay, so once 4 lighting sticks. Torches. Actually, torches, not lighting sticks. 2, 3, 4. There we go. So now that's removed. Okay, I think I want the slots by default to be displayed in bright colors. Okay, so we're gonna do this. If the item exists, if the inventory has this item, then it is going to be displayed in gray. Otherwise, by default, it's displayed in white. So if it has an item, it's gray, and if the player has this item, it goes back to white. There we go. That ought to do it. Okay. Whoa. Hey. Come on now. I suppose we need to first verify this is a selling field. Okay, so if it's a selling window, selling slot, set it to white. Then, if the inventory has this item, say it's gray, or okay, hold on, we're doing this twice. Okay, one more time. If this is a selling thing, then we set it to white just to reset it. I guess we can just do this. If the inventory of the player does not have it, set it to gray. We don't need to do this twice now. There we go. So white by default. If there is a valid item and the player does not have it, set it to gray. Nice. Okay. Cool beans. Talk to this dude. Pop, 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 pop. Nice. Everything fading in as it should be. And there we go. Beautiful. Okay, so now we have that set up. Everything's basically up and running here. Can I hide this hunger thirst thing? I don't think that I need that. So let's go to the player. Maybe we just have one single place where that should be displayed, to be honest. Where's that label? Journal. Hide that. Hunger debug. There we go. Let's just have one single rich text label for that information. Let's see. We have one. I think it's going to be in... Actually, it's going to be in DevTools. FPS. Place it into... You know what? Let's call it debug info. So let's delete this. Debug info goes into DevTools. So I want to be able to hide DevTools if necessary. Note paper panel. I just want to clean up the general visual. It'll make for better screenshots too. Let's see. DevTools. Note paper panel. That's for this one. Pause menu, saving panel, loading panel. AP number display, that's fine in the bottom right. FPS display. Didn't we already have that? Get rid of this. Health bar, that's an old health bar, which we don't need. The hell with you. Okay. So, back to DevTools. Debug info. Beautiful. Debug info. Make it nice and long. Make sure that it ignores the mouse. There we go. Okay, so let's see what crashes first. Okay, beautiful. State merchant. See, there seems to be this weird bug. It just keeps deleting either a portion or the entire first line. I don't know why. I don't know how. It just does it. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so we'll crash here. FPS text. Right. So we got debug. Hunger debug. Debug info. Beautiful. Okay. What's the next thing to crash? I think the closest interactable thing. Yes. Let's see. Hunger debug. Not a thing. We do need to place a new line character in front. Okay, what's next? Closest interactable, I think. Okay. Near item name. Right, okay. We have to populate this at the end here. Text plus equals. I'm going to do a new line character plus, and then this is going to be we're going to populate this into the variable and then add the variable down here. Ooh. There we go. What else? What else is going to complain? FPS display. Okay, so once again, debug info. We want to do new line, and then we're adding to it. That's actually an important one. I think I might have missed this in a couple of places. Plus equals. So this is the plus equals. And then I guess this is the very first one. Oh, actually no. Is it? Oh, we're doing this in two places. Nice. Okay, so well, one of them has to start it. Where are these guys at? These guys are an interface process, which is handled by physics process. That's not good. This needs to be in the regular process. Actually, a lot of the stuff needs to be in the regular process. Hurt process, screenshot process, inventory, camera process. Yeah, you know what? I think we're about to see blazing fast speeds here, because all of that really needs to be done in the process function. Because the process is literally meant for logic. Huh, don't even have a process function. Interesting. Okay. Physics process? Func process. Do all this stuff here. Okay. As long as movement is still done in the physics, that should be good. Okay. We have this piece of data, which is for, what is it, fog distance and all that good jazz. That seems pretty solid. Do we solve interaction? You have Twitch? I do have Twitch. I haven't streamed there in forever. I might actually start doing double streaming as well. Just because it's like, it's free exposure. As long as, Restream is still up and running and behaving. Okay. So I want. So that still works. I really need to move this display thing. Oh, I just saw it. It just disappeared for a second there. Which had happened to something else as well. Huh. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so we're still having the issue of the label disappearing when we get close. That's not supposed to be the case. Generic character. So the character should have a focused variable. Set to false. Chat bubble. Okay. If state is idle and focused. Transparency is 1.0. Otherwise, if it's either not idle or not focused, 0.0. And then we have this, which is for position. Focused is set to false here. And yeah. This is an odd one. It's almost like it's flipped. I'm going to print the name of the character and the variable. Let's see what it says. Okay, so Marcus true. Generic NPC false. Okay, where's the generic NPC false? I think it might be the player. New placeable, no collision. No collision to place placeable. Character is near, interact. Interesting. So we have a separate routine for character interaction. I would imagine, however, character interactions are all close interactables. Oh, but I suppose that different close interactables have to be interacted in different ways. Like minables, for example. Okay. What else is printing stuff here? Interact. Okay, characters near. That's not necessary. We know that it's near. It works. Allow movement, stop movement. Consume. Destroying the enemy record. In combat area body entered. That's beautiful. Area detected 1. Clear placeable blueprint. Interesting. So is it generic NPC that's doing it? Open merchant menu. It probably is. Name focused. Okay, let's give that a test. Cyber, good day. Okay. Oh, you know what? I just have multiple characters talking at the same time. That's right. Whoops. Okay. Here's what we can do. You know what? What we can do is just not be a bitch and just read what it says. Print S. So we got multiple characters standing around in the world and they're all writing this code. Okay, so Megan false, generic NPC false, Marcus false. Now here, Marcus becomes true. And should stay true. Oh. No, see, it like flickers on and off. Okay, you know what? Maybe we should do it. We should give it a export variable for testing. Okay, and then here, when we print this thing, if debug is true, only then print. Okay, so we'll take this guy, set debug to true, and now only he's going to be the one that prints this nonsense. Okay, we're approaching the 2-hour mark. I think that should be a good point to take a break. Okay, mark is true. Leave conversation. Oh. See, that doesn't make a lot of sense. We've got false, and it appears. True, and it disappears. Okay, well that has to be, like, plain and simple. It's this. What if the state is not idle? I think that might be it. In subject waiting. Leave conversation. Idle. So it's both idle and it's true. It's focused. Okay, so one more time. I think this doesn't need to be in brackets. So plus equals, position plus equals. It is going to be transparency 1.0 if state is idle, which it is, and focused is true, which it is. Else it will be 0.0. That is the value that we are going towards. Then from this value, we subtract transparency, and then divide the final result by 10 to slow it down. Same thing here. Okay, there's no reason why this should not be working. And yet it is not. Let me try taking this. Let's see about the compound condition. So the compound condition is false. Right, but that's because we're not an idle. But we'll leave conversation, and now the compound condition is true. Okay, is it stupid, or should I just do this? I swear, if that works. Okay. What? Okay, am I crazy? Transparency 0.0. How does transparency work? Hold on a second. Is transparency reversed? Where's transparency? Transparent, yes. But where's the... I think transparency might be reversed. I don't even see a slider here. Hold on a second. Texture. Sprite base 3D. Transparent. That's true or false. Okay. Geometry instance 3D. Transparency. Transparency applied to the whole geometry as a multiplier of the material's existing transparency. 0 is fully opaque, and then 1 is fully transparent. They reverse the property in Godot 4. Interesting. Okay. Fascinating. Okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to complain about it because we got per object transparency now. That works. And I think that should be it. I think that's a pretty good point to take a pause, take a break. Continue in the next one. There we go. Okay, so now we got, what do we achieve? We achieved the camera being in between the two characters who are talking. Maybe having the player maintain that orientation might be good. We got this, the merchant panel, which sells stuff. The raw meat is apparently 0. Cloth is 7. Is cloth actually 7? Or did we mess up on the dividing? Cloth is 15, but it's displaying a 7 here. That's not right. It's only supposed to be displaying half the price if this is a wanted grid. Okay, so I guess we do, if this is a wanted grid, it's half. Else, if it's a selling grid, it just displays the full value. No need to ceiling it. There we go. There we go. Nice and quick little change. I don't like this. There we go. Nice and quick little fix. That should do it. Beautiful. We might want to give this panel an appearing animation as well, simply so that it has enough time to populate all this data. We don't see it appear. And also this number should not be displayed here. So we're just going to quickly pop into the merchant slot, test amount label, get rid of that. And bam. All right. Nice. Perfect. So if we have our light gems purchase, that was only one of them. Only one of these. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, if it's water, it doesn't use the icon color. We might want to change that. Okay, purchase this. Stake rocks. Oh, we don't have any gems left. Cool. So we still have technically an issue that we haven't resolved yet, and it's the fact that the character might ask for the very same items that he's selling. We'll have to make sure that that is prevented. But other than that, this seems like an appropriate way to handle it. Cool. Okay. So that's it. Pretty cool. We're going to continue this in the next one. And thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, good stuff indeed.